That's why we just spent quite some time discussing anarthas, because we have to become free from these anarthas before we can relish rasa. What's the use of discussing rasa tattva if we're still in the stage of anarthas? See, we can't experience them. We can't taste them. We can only taste the perverted rasas of material enjoyment. We can't taste the real spiritual rasas. So first we have to get past anartha nivritti and get to the stage where we can relish spiritual tastes. That's actually quite an advanced stage of devotional service called bhava. But at first, in the stage of ruchi, we start developing that taste. So we need to know, in order to reach that stage or complete that stage, we need to know what are these different tastes. What are the tastes of rasa? Well, there's 5 tastes of rasa: neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Now, these are the 5 sthāyi bhavas, or the eternal tastes, eternal flavors of consciousness, of devotion, relation, transcendental emotion, of relationship with the Lord. So we should know that we all fall under one or more of those 5. And then plus there are other more subtle variations and combinations of those tastes. And this all combined together is the science of rasa, rasa tattva. So the truth about rasa is that we all have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And uncovering that relationship is the process of devotional service, or sadhana. Sadhana bhakti means that we gradually become purified from all the material nonsense. And we realize our eternal relationship, our pre-existing, already existing relationship with Krishna. Because we have forgotten that relationship, therefore we're suffering in the material world. And we're full of so many impurities called anarthas. So while we purify ourselves from those anarthas, we also should study what's on the other side. What's going to be the benefit? What are we going to get by purifying ourselves from all these anarthas? Well, we're going to get rasa. And rasa is the most wonderful thing in the whole world. Rasa is so great because it's eternal. Right now, we're trying to enjoy this material world. And everything in this material world is temporary. It's also imperfect. There's always some imperfection. There's always some disappointment. But the spiritual world is perfect and eternal. And this spiritual enjoyment never decreases. In fact, it only increases. As time goes on, it only develops more and more. So we already have a relationship with Krishna. We've just forgotten it. So the process of reviving that relationship is sadhana. The process of growing that relationship is bhakti. And the means is rasa. So we have to know rasa tattva. We're going to continue to study Nectar of Devotion in the future. We're going to continue to record and broadcast the chapters. So even while we're traveling and stuff like that, we can continue this study. So please, stay with us, and you'll gradually learn everything. There's more? Oh boy.
There is another question from Ayla. What is the purpose of a mala, and can anyone make them?
Malas for chanting, to keeping track of the mantras. And you can make them, but it's better if you buy them from krishnaculture.com or something like that, because they'll be made of their proper materials, tulsi beads. Any of the devotees can answer these questions. Let's save these sessions for really important questions.
Question from Marino. Hare Krishna. Can you please tell us more about the potency of Radha Kund, place of pastimes? What are the offenses that we must avoid in that place?
Well, Radha Kund, unless you're actually going to visit there, in the near future, you don't really need to know a lot about it. Actually, it's pretty confidential subject matter, and it's not something I would want to discuss openly on a public broadcast like this. Because these are pastime places of Radha Krishna's conjugal loving affairs. So just like if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, or you're married or something like that, it's not like you want to go on TV and talk all about your intimate loving affairs, you know? Similarly, we don't want to talk too much about the intimate loving affairs of Radha Krishna in Radha Kund, because it's just not appropriate. You know, this is something for people who are concerned with these things, whose eternal identity involves service in this mode. And most devotees, frankly, their service is in other modes of devotional service. So, I mean, I suppose it's good if they know about Radha Kund, but you know, it really is not germane to discuss for most devotees, because that's not their engagement. That's not their eternal identity. And plus, it's the confidential nature of the subject matter means that it's really best only discussed in private. So if you go to Radha Kund, you have to be very careful to pay respects to all the living entities there, because they're all pure devotees. So don't offend anyone, and certainly don't offend the kunda by you know, horseplay or jumping in. You know, it's not a swimming pool. It's a very sacred place and has to be approached in a very sober and sacred way. You really shouldn't go to Radha Kund unless you're a pure devotee. It's one of those places that's so sensitive that if you create any offense, it's just going to really mess up your spiritual life. So, I mean, really, the place is for advanced devotees, and it's for those devotees whose service is in the mood of conjugal love. Just like if you really like, you know, to worship Krishna as a great king, you wouldn't go to Vrindavan anyway. You'd want to go to Dwarka or Mathura itself as a pilgrimage place. You know, you have to know what you're attracted to. You have to be honest about what your taste is. You have to be realistic about what your actual mood of service is. And of course, anyone who's attracted to our lineage or our group is going to have some relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But are they necessarily going to be inhabitants of Vrindavan? No, not necessarily. Maybe their attraction is more to the pastimes of opulence, which is called Aishwarya. Aishwarya is displayed in Dwarka and Mathura, where Krishna appears as a great king. So, you know, these confidential pastimes are not really for everybody. They're only for those people who are attracted to them. We see how few devotees, for example, my godbrothers, actually have studied the Caitanya-caritāmṛta carefully. I couldn't help it. I was engaged by Srila Prabhupada as one of the editors of Caitanya-caritāmṛta. I had to study every single word. Look up every word in the dictionary and make sure that it was the proper word in that context. That was my duty. I had to literally go through with a tape recorder and read every single word, and then go through in the dictionary and look up the meaning and make sure that it was the right word. That was my job. That was my service to Srila Prabhupada for like over a year. And those volumes that I edited happened to be the last 2 or 3 volumes of the Madhya Lila and the Antya Lila volumes. So it was all these really, really advanced subjects and really confidential pastimes. So it was Srila Prabhupada's arrangement that I was immersed in these very confidential pastimes, almost, from the beginning of my career as a devotee. And then later I actually went to Vrindavan and Mayapur and went to the places where all these pastimes occurred. And again, I was stationed there. That was my duty. That was my service to Srila Prabhupada. So I was immersed in these pastimes for many years by the circumstances of my service to my guru. So, there was no doubt that I was supposed to be involved with these subjects. But when you're in the West, and you're far, far away from India in some remote corner of the world, like LA,